Hello guys, how's it going? My name is Dalrin, and in today's video, I want to talk a bit about PvP in Battle for Azeroth. I actually personally feel like the PvP in BFA has been pretty great. I actually been enjoying it a lot and been playing my rogue from time to time. It's not something I'm really just diving really deep in and just pushing some crazy rating, but I'm actually enjoying myself. It honestly could be because I'm enjoying Outlaw because it's super strong right now, or it could be because the PvP feels a little bit different, like the meta and whatnot. Anyway, on Wowhead they had a Q&A with no other than Zico and Zaryu. So in today's video I want to take a look at a little bit of the mind of some of the best players and find out what are some of the things they had for stat templates, Azerite traits, class balance in general. And in this video I really do want to highlight 8.1. I want to highlight and say that, you know what, something's missing in 8.1. We got a currency vendor for, what is it, mythic classes? Oh, that's really good. That's really awesome. Oh, you say we got a currency vendor for war mode, or what is it, war games? No, war fronts. We got a currency vendor for war fronts. Oh, that's fantastic. We know exactly what we can get from war fronts instead of just RNG. Oh, you're saying we got vendor for islands as well? Well, goddamn, we got vendors for everything. But it feels like something's missing. Could you guys help me? This is gonna be like Dora the Explorer, literally. Anyway, let's get into the Q&A. What sort of an impact do you think removal of stat templates had on PvP? Zico says, I think stat templates being removed is a very welcome change. It opens up PvP gear to use in PvE and vice versa. It gives me more reason to enjoy all content. Having a character progression is very important in me and MMO. It also allows for creative builds and new character customization. Zaryu says, stat templates being removed allows for more customization control in players' hands. For example, if shamans are normally bad, perhaps stacking absurd amounts of mastery might make them strong in certain aspects to make it viable. Having that control over how we want to play the game is everything to an MMO player, and I feel like that has been completely whiff and a miss somewhere in Blizzard office. Don't get me wrong, I love Blizzard. I want this game to be amazing, and I've only been giving them crap for only a couple of weeks now. I love what they do. I love the game. I cannot overstate how excited I am over BlizzCon. I'm super happy and wouldn't be making videos on this game if I didn't enjoy it. But there's definitely parts where I feel like you guys gotta say, yeah, come on, you know? But lovingly. I feel like with what Zaryu says is perfectly right. This is what MMO players have wanted for a while. And they tried this whole thing with Legion where they took out stat template, or they added stat templates, took out gear needed, but it was definitely a bad move. Now you can actually customize your character a lot better. There's a lot more trinkets that you can now use. There's a lot more options and talent combos and honor talent stuff and the gear and the Azerite traits, and there's so much to do with. There's so many ways to create your character, and I absolutely love it. Yeah, there's also potential for players to craft the character poorly, you know, get the wrong stats, get the wrong setup, get the wrong trinkets, but that's always going to happen. That's just the parcel for the whole setup, and I love the fact that we can customize ourselves again in PvP. Maybe that's why it's been enjoyable, because you always, every week, it seems like you see a new build or a new spec becoming super viable because somebody figured out a build or so. Next question is, as the expansion moves on, what sort of changes would you like to see in terms of class balance? Now, I'm not going to go over both of these guys, but I am going to look over what Zaryu said, because I feel like this one rang with me so loudly, I guess. Rang like a bell. The main thing I want to see with class balance are buffs to weaker classes instead of just nerfing strong classes. Nerfing the OP and Flavor of the Month classes over and over results in a boring end result. However, buffing weaker classes results in everyone feeling strong as an end result. In terms of gearing, I would love a guaranteed method gear acquisition. PvP vendors, PvP vendors would be nice, but let's talk about the Blizzard nerfing and buffing things. I'm glad somebody in I guess PvP's competitive as Zaryu does, high rated player, also has the same views, because I feel like a lot of people have had this same view. So it's not like anything new or kind of out of left field. What a lot of people have wanted for a while is for Blizzard to balance the game to help classes that are doing poorly. I mean, of course, it's generally, I feel like the fastest route is just take whatever class is Flavor of the Month and overpowered and nerf it. Granted, there are situations where a class literally has to press one button and he one-shots everybody. In those cases, that needs to be curbed anytime that's available. If a class has an ability that's overtuned and it's performing way too well, like ridiculously well, where it's like, okay, this is just busted, there's no way to play around it, there's no counterplay, then yes, nerf that shit to the ground. But when you have classes that are performing really well, like for example, let's just go with Assassination Rogues, like they're performing super well. Before all the nerfs happened, they were just insane. I mean, the one-shots were happening, the CC chains are insane, the poison and the bleed damage is just nuts, and the setups are, I mean, ridiculous. So instead of taking classes like Death Knight and Warlocks and I guess Windwalkers in some sense, and inching them all the way to the new middle ground. So like, you can almost imagine like there's a middle ground somewhere where Blizzard wanted all these classes to be. And some classes are above the middle ground, other classes are below, but most of them are trying to be within that margin. Assassination Rogues are a step ahead. So why instead of moving Assassination Rogues down a notch, just raise the bar? Raise this middle ground to where Assassination is and work on all the other classes to improve them. Maybe in that process you might even give them back some abilities they are now needed in order to perform well. I think it'll make everybody feel better. You know what? Honestly, whether they nerf the OP class or buff the weaker classes, it's going to be a nightmare for Blizzard, and I understand that. There's so many specs in the game for PvP, but in the community it would feel a lot better if instead of nerfing the OP class, unless you know they're just one-shotting people in a single global, I feel like buffing classes that are very much underperforming goes a long way, especially in the feel of the community. It feels like Blizzard, instead of paying attention to the OP class, are bringing everybody to that new level. So instead of nerfing that class, making them less OP, instead they're bringing other classes to that new level, so now everybody's OP, so now nobody's OP. I feel like it just feels a lot better. And it helps to a lot more people. When you nerf rogues, you're not really improving classes that are performing poorly. But if instead you're going to take all those classes that perform poorly and raise them up to a whole new level, I feel like it's going to affect more of the community and more people are going to be happy. And that's all we want to be, is just happy playing the game. Last question is, how do you feel about Azerite traits in PvP? And I feel like I could read Zico, and he has I'll read Zico. He's a beautiful butterfly. I think the concept of Azerite gear is nice, but the expansion has been but the execution has been pretty poor. Blizzard are already making it easier to obtain Azerite, which is nice, but there seems to be still a lot of work that needs to be done. The traits could be a lot more interesting. Having multiple traits for the same spell is also not ideal. Trait stacking is an issue, but I like to see more trait diversity, buff traits but not let them stack, and add more Azerite pieces, hands or legs. Now that's a cool idea, but what Zarya says I feel like is really key here. Azerite traits in PvP actually help customize and uniqueness, customization and unique playstyles. I can't read today. I love the idea, however, since the gear acquisition is so randomized and difficult, currently it's not having the desired effect. Having more finite timelines in acquiring Azerite gear would help combat this. Now, the best way to do this is to add PvP vendors. Why do we need PvP vendors? They added vendors for Mythic Pluses, right? The only way to get gear, Azerite gear, that's a guarantee from the next patch 8.1 is through Mythic Pluses. So what are PvPers supposed to do? Are we supposed to start doing 10s? Maybe there's a good chunk of community, which there has been for a while, that just likes WoW just for the PvP. They don't really care for the raiding, they don't care for dragon slaying. Gahoon, who cares about Gahoon? Gahoo? Honestly, most people would rather just PvP. Yes, they can, if they enjoy all aspects of the game, they enjoy Mythic Pluses, raids, and PvP, they're more than welcome to. But World of Warcraft PvP has always been one of the unique PvP, the arena for World of Warcraft. I don't see a lot of other games use it. I feel like to have and allow people the PvP for World of Warcraft, their own vendors, so they can find and specify their own gear, I feel like is going to be much better. It's going to make everybody happier. They add in vendors anyway for Mythic Pluses. So what are people supposed to do? Do Mythic Plus? They add in vendors for Warfronts, for Christ's sake. I mean, PvP vendors wouldn't ruin a thing. Now, this is my own idea here, but what if they added a bunch of different vendors, more than just one? So they'll add one vendor for players that are, let's say, under 1400 PvP, like they're under that whole combatant. You know how they set up the combatant, challenger, duelist? I feel like what they could do is they could make a bunch of vendors based on that rank. So if you don't have rating in 2s or 3s or RBGs, you get like the normal honor gear, and you can work for it with conquest, or you can work for it with whatever. If you end up climbing in rating, you can get better gear, and the higher your rating is, the better access to the gear you have that you can get. This will allow people at different, I guess, at different levels of competition to maybe fill up a full set, right? Maybe they don't have any arena rating, they'll go and purchase everything from the undercombatant, like the BG set, and then they're like, okay, well, I got that set. Now I have a reason to work towards like my first 1400 rating, so I can buy the full set of the next vendor. Once they bought that up, maybe I can work up towards the 1500, 1600, 17, 1800, 2100, higher and higher and higher, so I can get better gear, so I can stay competitive. And I feel like maybe it could be a way for people to want to climb higher, want to do better. I don't know, man. That's just what I got going on so far. But honestly, I feel like PvP vendors are needed in BFA. I feel like in Battle for Azeroth, the PvP side of the game has actually been super fun. Again, as I said before, I've been enjoying the hell out of it. And I'm enjoying it. So every time I play arenas, every time I do BGs, there's not a lot of things I can complain about. But let's be honest, when we're thinking about the setup that we got going on right now with vendors coming in at 8.1, PvP not having any vendors is only going to, I guess, upset more of the community. They'll be like, well, PvEers get vendors, why can't we get vendors? We have the same like systems of capping out the weekly bonuses, and in some cases, high-rated arenas can be much more difficult than a raid or than a Mythic Plus dungeon, where a lot of the Mythic Plus and raid encounters are scripted. In PvP, it's a little bit more of a mind game, and it can be just as challenging to achieve as, let's say, a high-rated key for M+. I don't know, man. I just feel like it sounds reasonable enough, but you guys let me know your thoughts. Thank you for watching this video. I just kind of wanted to get my thoughts out there. Thank you for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts. What do you guys think? PvP vendors? I honestly feel like they'll add PvP vendors. I feel like they have to, because they're adding vendors for everybody. I feel like it's just somebody trying to figure out, like an intern, trying to figure out what are going to be, I guess, the qualifications for the vendors, how are they going to function, what are they going to be doing, what kind of gear are they going to be selling, and they'll reveal it in BlizzCon. They're adding PvP vendors as well. Honestly, it'll be great. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this rant, and I'll see all of you guys in another video.